Hey, how you doing today? I am Coach Ryan Finley from the VIPAR Pit. Today I've got part 2 on my series of how to target stubborn body parts for strength or for muscle growth. All right, we left off last week with the last 4, or the first 4, which were feed the beast, number 1. Number 2 was rest and resensitize. Number 3 was lengthen the antagonist. And number 4 was to activate and innervate. If you need a quick review, you can go back and peek at that video from last week. We're leading off today again with number 5. Simple, right? Get it stronger, okay? For the strength people, you already know this. For people that are interested in targeting a stubborn body part for muscle growth, a lot of people don't really think about getting it stronger. A lot of times they'll just pump away with light baby weights all the time and they never actually work to improve the loads they use. Guess what? Getting stronger in a variety of repetition ranges is one of the best ways to grow a muscle. I have yet to see a 500-pound bench presser with a really tiny undeveloped chest or tiny triceps. Sure, it could happen, but working to get stronger will increase the strength of those muscle groups. So getting stronger in the lower rep ranges. How many times have you ever done curls for 8 sets of 3, heavy? Okay, that's one way to get bigger biceps. A lot of people don't think like that, but a lot of people do sets of 10, 15, 20 reps, but biceps oftentimes are fast twitch muscles, so they can be trained with heavy weights. So getting stronger in a few key movements that target the muscles you're trying to develop is a great way to target a stubborn body part. Next one is kind of a big one here. It's got a lot of facets to it. Add variety. We often get stuck in the same routine when we go to the gym. Same sets and reps, same type of contraction, same type of loading scheme. There's a lot of different things you can manipulate, and this isn't everything, but these are all different things that you can modify to your routine to change the stimulus that you're giving your body so it has a new reason to develop. Number 1 is the contraction type or the tempo. A lot of people go in the gym and they lift with the same speed on every repetition. Have you ever thought about lowering a barbell as slowly as possible for 30 seconds, let's say, in a squat, or 10 seconds in a pull-up? So you can do slow eccentrics. You can do really fast eccentrics with a rapid pause. So in a bench press, almost dropping the bar and then catching at the chest and holding for 5 seconds before exploding back up. That's another way. You could do slow concentrics. So lowering down and then going slow, lifting up in a count of 5. This is another great one for innervation and activation, is really slow concentrics. You will be humbled by the amount of weight you can use. I promise you that, okay? Next we have strength curve manipulation, or position of force or position of flexion manipulation. So you can modify different points in the strength curve. So for example, you can target the stretch position of a movement. You can target the maximally contracted position of a movement. Example of that would be with dumbbell curls. So incline curls, where the arm is behind the body, targets the stretch position for the biceps, whereas a kneeling low pulley curl, like I mentioned in the activation section, would target more the shortened position. You can also do things for the mid-range. And then when we talk about the strength curve, we are talking about where the resistance is. So in a bench press, for example, it's hardest at the chest and it gets easier as you press out. So you can add chains to the barbell, and that way it'll be harder as the chains come off the floor to lift the bar. Next, we have angles, lines of force, stance, grip. These are all different things. Many people bench press with the same grip every time. Pinkies on the rings or index finger on the rings. Even moving one finger over 1 inch to either side is going to change the way your brain recruits the muscle tissue, and it's going to add variety. Same thing in a squat. When you're squatting, doing a super narrow stance and then just kicking it out even a couple inches here and there every few weeks can modify how your body trains those muscles in the lower body. So always be looking to make slight adjustments to how you do the stance, the grip, the line of force. You can use pulleys, dumbbells, barbells, all different things to add variety. Closed versus open kinetic chain. For the chest, for example, an open kinetic chain movement would be a bench press or a dumbbell press. A closed kinetic chain would be a push-up. So closed chain means your limbs are fixed and your body is moving through space. Open chains, your body is fixed and your limbs are moving through space. So if you have been struggling to grow your chest, for example, and all you've been doing is open chain movements, you might switch to push-ups or dips, which are more closed chain movements, which will modify the way your brain recruits that muscle and therefore trains that muscle. Loading type, here we have straight weight. So just a barbell, just weight. You have bands you can add on the bar. Bands I've talked about in other videos if you tie bands on the bar and tie them down to the ground, it will accelerate the barbell at a faster acceleration than gravity, which puts a greater stimulus on the muscle tissue. Conversely, you can do reverse bands, where you hang bands off the top of a power rack, loop the bar in it, and it actually reduces the acceleration that you will see, so it's easier on the joints. You can use pneumatic devices like the Kaiser units. There are many different ways and modes of loading that you can use for training stubborn body parts. And then obvious ones, sets, reps, and rest period. Okay, how many times do we go in and do 3 sets of 10 for the same exercise all the time? Try doing 10 sets of 3, try doing 6 sets of 6, 8 sets of 4, 2 sets of 50. There's so many different ways that we can adjust training to give a different stimulus, yet we have our favorites. We all have our little pet set and rep protocols that we like, but think outside the box, step outside a little bit and train differently. So that's how we can add variety. And the last point that I'm gonna make in terms of targeting stubborn body parts is to increase your training frequency. So we've already talked about taking some time off. You've rested, you've resensitized. Now we're getting back into training. Muscle protein synthesis lasts for about 36 hours in a muscle, or increased muscle protein synthesis, so at a higher rate. So that means if you train biceps on Monday, by about Tuesday in the middle of the night, your biceps are done laying down new proteins at an accelerated rate. So they're just gonna sit there until the next Monday when you train them again. I like to do multiple weekly exposures for higher frequency to take advantage of the fact that you're stimulating muscle protein synthesis multiple times in the course of a week to lead to a greater growth response over time. So if you're used to training a body part 1 time per week, start by going up to 2. Then eventually build up to 3. So the structure of this, your first day of the week is always going to be the heaviest, and then you want to get lighter as you go. So in a chest, for example, a chest prioritization phase, you might do 8 sets of 3 heavy in the bench press on Monday. Wednesday, you might do 4 sets of 8 in the dumbbell press, and Friday, you might do 3 sets of 25 in the chest fly. That's just one example of how you can lay it out, but you always want to go lighter to heavier. It's going to be safest for your joints and connective tissues. There are some body parts that you can train 6 days per week. Things like calves, forearms, postural muscles, those can be trained almost daily. I still like to give 1 day of rest just for complete rest as much as possible, but I have included 6 days per week of training for certain body parts. So I hope you gathered some ideas or ways to modify your routine or to improve your execution for training stubborn or weak body parts. Again, this applies to hypertrophy and to strength methods, but hopefully by utilizing these principles, your weak body parts will soon become your strong body parts. Okay, I'm Coach Ryan Finley from the VIPAR Pit. If you like these videos, please hit subscribe below. We'll see you next time.